we enter the hole, that'd be a good time to pay attention to the flight director and what the flight director is telling us to do using the single queue mode. And actually, at this point, 5 miles away, I'm 45. Let's go ahead and go down to 31.
1,500. Advise tower prior to departure if you are IFR or VFR. Advise on initial contact you have ACE information. Kilo. Keep an eye out for you, thank you.
Go vertical speed, let's go down. 600 feet a minute. A minute. So we'll cross the VOR at about 38, but by the time we get down to the hold, we'll be closer to the 31 that we want to be.
Claiborne traffic, helicopter 2 in the Sierra, 3 miles to the northeast, inbound full stop, Claiborne.
And you can see this teal colored banana there. That's showing me exactly where I will hit my altitude. So I'll be past the hole, so I'll be somewhere in the hole by the time I get to 3,100. Okay, there's my warnings. I'm 1,000 feet above my altitude. Okay, getting ready to enter the hole. Tell me to go right, 286. Okay, so now I am, and of course it's on the flight director. It's a little bit hard to see since the autopilot is dead on all the time. You never get off of what you're doing. Probably need to do a little manual flying to show the difference between manual indications on what the flight director is telling you to do and having the autopilot fly it dead on all the time. Okay, so now we're into our turn. In the hold, entering the teardrop. Pull power back a little bit. Descending, kind of sped up.
Go entering on the left downwind for runway 17.
And this would be a good time to switch over to my other fuel tank. Getting the flashing sign that I'm down. That's about a 5-gallon warning there that they tell me to go right to 140. So I can dial this in just to keep the heading bug synced. Even though the autopilot's doing everything and I don't really need to turn this knob. I'm just bringing it over to keep the heading bug in sync with what the autopilot's doing. And I'm not going to fly around the hold. It's just the autopilot will fly the hole dead on all day long, so there's no need to actually do more than this partial circuit around the hole to demonstrate what it will do. And then,
somebody give me a radio check out there, please.
Loud, clear.
Thanks, sir.
as we turn inbound, let's suppose now that air traffic control says that I've been cleared for the VOR approach. I don't want to arm the approach this time because being a non-precision approach, I have to drive down manually. Well, it's okay, we get turning inbound. Now I can unsuspend. And so now the next leg, so the hold disappears, and the next leg of the approach is now coming up. And we're now down to our 3,100 feet, so as we went around, we got down to our 3,100 feet. And we're supposed to be, okay, hold 3,100. We're 19 seconds away from crossing the VOR. What I just did there is I was playing around with the map, and when you start doing that, you can touch spots on the map and get information. And so you get this graphically edit. So to get out of that, you go back. Well, let's say I wanted to get some information. I can just go over to that waypoint there. I just touched KXPB Bridgeport, and then I can touch that, and I can get all the information about Bridgeport. So I want to get the frequencies. Let's see the frequencies of Bridgeport.
074 Sierra 1800.
Procedures.
Departing the area to the east, Cleburne.
And then if you're in an area where it's more crowded and you hit the wrong thing, you'll get these next buttons. It's kind of grayed out here. You really can't see it. But now this approach that I just did, actually, you can load this if you don't have the simulator for the GTN 750 or the GTN. Well, it's for both, but there's really the GTN 750 to do it on the iPad. It's a great simulator. Really helps you get some of the buttonology of the 750 down. But what it doesn't do is since it doesn't integrate with the autopilot controller, doing things like flying a heading and such is a lot more difficult to do on that simulator. So the simulator is good for getting some of the basics of how you load an approach and how you load the hold. As a matter of fact, before I came out today and did this demo flight, I did use the simulator on the iPad just to make sure I had everything right. So that when I loaded the hold, I got what I was thinking I was doing, and I didn't want to give any wrong information as I'm doing the video. Okay, I've already switched tanks, so ignore that. Okay, in-tour, 3 minutes away from in-tour. Go back to the approach plate. I'm going to go ahead and go down to my 3000.
Sherman traffic, land 52 Charlie departing.
Start down. So when I get to in-tour, I'll be at 3000. If I come over here, I should get that little banana. It's so close that it may not even show. Yeah, we're just about there, and 2 minutes away from in-tour.
Jumpers are currently at or below 3000 AGL, Catamount.
You're on traffic here on 9 in November. I'm entering the pattern from the left down. I'm sorry, from the left. Thanks, 17 direct.
Okay, so now that I've captured my 3000 and I'm there, I can look at my next altitude, which is going to be 1700. I can go ahead and dial in that 1700.
Pattern altitude, planning to intersect, west downwind, runway 17, sail traffic.
So there I've got my 1700. Entered as my next altitude, and once I cross into her, then I can start down with the driving dive down to 1700. Okay, so now I'm just waiting to cross into her. I've got some traffic I can see. I saw it on my other screen that just popped up. So I've got one target over here, but he's 1,500 feet above me. So not real concerned about that. I don't see really any other traffic in the area right now.
Traffic line in the upper left.
Pretty warm day out here in North Texas.
Skyhawk 722.
Okay, so now we're less than a minute away from
sail traffic.
Our start down. So again, we're going to start down. We've got our course at 137. Make sure I'm synced up there. And really, I should be on the green needles at this point.
Garrett.
I've got the VOR dialed in because this is a VOR approach. So now the GPS is just for guidance or for reference. Okay, so I got my green needles. I got the VOR. 15 seconds away from crossing in-tour.
Sail traffic, Skyhawk 722 Mike Alpha.
Okay, I've got the waypoint flashing. Tell me that I'm getting ready to cross.
Sail traffic.
Catabel traffic, jump lane forward 2662 is entering a midfield left downwind.
Okay, so there, I've just crossed the VOR, so now I can start down. Let's go 700 feet a minute. Hold my power back some. Okay, so now I'm looking for my 1700. And then once I get to 17, and hold that, I could dial in my missed altitude of 2,400. But since I don't have a real lot of fuel remaining, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down. I'm going to go down to the minimums. I'm going to go miss, and then I'm going to head back to Northwest Regional. At some point I had knocked my autopilot off and nav. Oh, you know what that was is when I switched CDI. So you can see I'm getting off course here, so my viewers. So way off course, yeah. That's one thing you got to remember is when you go to CDI, make sure. Again, that comes back to paying attention to your scoreboard. Not too busy talking. But this is where the VOR course is different from the GPS course. The magenta line is. But I'm dead on according to the VOR.
22 Mike Alpha, turning left 8.17.
Okay, 1900, 2 to go to my minimum. Okay. Just getting that warning tone that I'm 2 to go to the minimum. And this VOR approach, it's about a 30-degree difference between the runway heading. And there's the airport, just went over it. Indicator traffic, RV7 Alpha, just north of the airport, going missed.
Minimums, minimums.
And with all that talking that I was doing, I wasn't talking on the radio at all. That was my bad there. I'm going to remain suspended. I'm going to climb up. Then I'm going to go direct back to Northwest Regional. That's it for today. I'm going to turn the camera off and just head on back to Northwest Regional.